Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Today's recipe, I'm making a saffron risotto chicken rice. Now I'm loading this up with lots of vegetables for the new year. We want to start it out healthy. And I'm going to show you also which pan to use to get the best flavor in this dish. And there are some tips and tricks that really do help bring the flavor level up. So I'm Rockin' Robin, and I'm going to show you how to do it right after this. All right, so let's go over our ingredients so you can see what's in this. First up, I'm using boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and I just cut them into bite-sized chunks so that way it's ready to go. We'll need some rice. I'm using arborio rice, and you want to use arborio rice because it has a lot more starch in it. And so when we cook this, and I'll show you all about it, it releases the starch and it becomes creamy. So that's a really nice feature. Now here I have some cauliflower and some broccoli that has been riced already. I bought at the store. In fact, I think it was Trader Joe's that had it. And same thing with some shredded carrots. We'll need some celery. Now I've diced up, you can see this trio here of celery, some yellow onion, and mushrooms. And I've diced them all up very fine so that they're almost about the size of the rice grain. I like it that way. If you want to leave your mushrooms big, by all means you can do that. But I like mine small, and that's why we do it. We'll need some butter, some salt, garlic powder. I have some wine over here, and in the wine we're going to be putting some saffron. That's just a very expensive spice. It's very good, but you just use a pinch, and it makes your dish have that nice yellow color to it, and along with some really nice flavor. You don't want to use too much of it though, because it does tend to be a little bit bitter, so just one little pinch is all you need. We'll need some chicken broth and some olive oil. So in order to make risotto rice, we've got to heat up our chicken broth and have it like just right near boiling point, because when you cook risotto rice, we're not covering it like you do traditional rice and letting it sit for 20 minutes. No, we're going to be adding our broth about a spoonful at a time, or a half a cup, let's say, at a time, into our pan with the rice, and we're going to stir pretty much constantly. And that's how you make this. That's where we do the stirring, and the stirring is what releases the starch and makes our rice super creamy. And I also mentioned to you that one of the tips for making this is using a particular pan. Now there's two choices you have. One is a stainless steel pan, which is what I'm using here today, or you can use a cast iron pan. Now, why do I suggest you use those pans as opposed to, say, a non-stick pan? Because I want it to stick. I absolutely want it to stick, and I'll show you that as we're cooking this. So what it creates is the chicken will stick to the bottom as it's cooking, and it creates what's called a fond, and this fond is where all the flavor is. And so as we get done with the chicken and we're cooking this, we're going to release all of that with some wine and chicken stock, and it's just going to take all those flavors and put it into your risotto rice and make it taste amazing. All right, I've got my pan heating up. I got it on medium-high heat, and I think it's hot enough. I'm going to add some olive oil to the pan, and we're going to cook the chicken first. And I'm going to add a little salt to this and some garlic powder. And we're going to cook this up maybe, I don't know, maybe 8, maybe 10 minutes, and we'll just stir it until it's done. Now I have a pan here behind the chicken, and that's where I'm going to place it once it's done. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes now, and you can see that the chicken is looks pretty done. I'm going to check it with a knife. You want to do that just to make sure. Take a piece that's kind of big and make sure there's no pink. That looks good. I think the chicken is done. So I'm going to place it in my dish right behind here. And we'll keep it warm. I'll just put the lid on it. All right, I'm going to go back up to medium heat. I'm going to add some olive oil to the pan. And we're going to add our trio of onions, celery, and those nicely diced up mushrooms. These are cremini mushrooms, actually. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. I'm going to add a little pinch of salt to this and a little more garlic powder, just a touch. And we're going to cook this for about 3 to 5 minutes. All right, so we've been cooking this now for about 5 minutes, and now it's time to add the arborio rice, and we'll just coat that and cook this for about a minute so that all the little grains get coated with the oil. All right, the rice is in there now, coated nicely. So next up is I'm going to pour in the wine with the saffron. I'm going to give that a stir. And then I'm going to add the carrots because they're going to take a little bit to cook. I'm going to hold off on the cauliflower for just a few minutes before I add it because it won't take as long as the carrots. Now remember, now we're going to move into adding our broth and just keeping it at a simmer. I have my heat on medium high, and I'm going to grab some broth. And I'm going to start it off with about 2 scoops. But it should start boiling right away. So I do have my temperature up to a good medium high just to get things moving. And we're not going to add liquid or any more liquid until this cooks into the rice. All right, so see the bubbles going on here? This is what we want, just a nice simmer like that. And then I just keep stirring. And we're going to do this, we're going to continue this, but for about 20 minutes. And we know when it's done when we take a taste of the rice and it's not crunchy. All right, I wanted to show you. Now you see how it's kind of, the liquid is cooked into the rice. It's not as, liquidy as it was just a minute ago. So now I'm going to add another scoopful of broth. And after 10 minutes, I'm going to add the cauliflower rice in. So continue to add broth and then stir it in until it cooks into the rice. And you just keep repeating that cycle for about 20 minutes until the rice is done. Now it's time to add the cauliflower rice to this. And I'm going to add just a little more salt to this, more garlic powder, and we need to add some more broth. So here we are at 20 minutes. I just added another ladle full of the broth and I'm stirring it in, and I'm going to taste it in just a minute here and see if it's done. That is just getting done. I'm going to let it go another minute, maybe 2 minutes, and that's it. If you run out of sauce, broth, you can always heat up a little more. All right, I'm going to add the chicken back. Make sure that is nice and hot to go in here. And I'm just going to heat this through for maybe 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. That's it. And right at the end, I'm going to add just a little bit of butter and just stir that in. Our risotto is done. I ended up cooking it about 24 minutes, so it's going to vary between 20, I think, and 25. It just depends on your temperature. And anyway, let's serve this up. Look at this, guys. Super, super hot here. Oh gosh. Very delicious and savory. The onions and the celery just really make it delicious. And of course, creating that fond on the bottom of your pan is really where the flavor is, and it gets into your rice, and it's just wonderful. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. Let me know if you have any recipe requests. I'd like to hear about it down below in the comments. And if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and there's a bell next to it. If you click that, it will tell you when new videos come out every week, and that way you won't miss any. All right, thanks again for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.